Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to be changing the oil in this generator. Now, I usually change it once a year depending on how much I use the generator. It hasn't been used in quite some time, so we are going to just do it as preventive maintenance. Now, I do want to point this out to you. You want to run the generator till it's warmed up before you drain the oil out of it, which we already did. It's already warmed up. Next, we have our oil that we're going to put back in there. This particular one, we're going to use a 1030 motor oil because that's a good multi-range, temperature range oil for this particular unit. But check your manufacturer's manual to see what yours will use more efficiently. We have a container to drain the oil into. We have a funnel to put the oil back in. We have a rag, of course, to clean up our messes, and a wrench to take out the drain plug. Now, this particular drain plug is a 10 millimeter. Yours may be a little bit different, but it is a 10 millimeter on this one. All right, so we put some stuff down on the ground because no matter what you do, you're going to have a little bit of a mess. So we have some stuff down on the ground just to make sure that we don't make a mess in the garage here. All right, enough talking. Let me zoom you in so you can watch what I'm doing instead of talking, and we'll get this job done, okay? Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll take our container. We'll slide it underneath the drain, which is right here. We're going to take off this cap right here, just like that. We'll put the cap down for now. Now be careful, as I told you, we had this generator running and it's going to be warm, so be careful you don't burn yourself. We're going to go counterclockwise to open the drain plug. You can use an adjustable wrench if you don't have the right size for it. And now once you can move it by hand, we're just going to come in here and we're going to unscrew it by hand, and we'll let the oil drain down into this container down below. We're going to do it very slow so we don't make too much of a mess. And I'm going to let it drain out now. Watch your container to make sure it doesn't overflow your container. You will need to dispose of this oil in a environmentally safe location. You can drop it off at any one of the big box stores such as Advanced or any one of the O'Reilly's or anything like that. They will take the old motor oil, just so you know. So we're going to let this drain now until it's thoroughly drained out. And once it's thoroughly drained out, we'll come back and we'll put our plug back in. Now is a good time to wipe off any of the dirt that may be on here, like this. And it's nice and clean. So now we'll let it finish draining out. Once it finishes draining, we'll come back and I'll put our plug in and then we'll fill it back up. As you can see, I did put the plug back in. I removed that container. I dumped it into a larger container. And then we'll just let it drain until it totally empties out. Okay, so once the oil finishes draining out, then of course you just take your drain plug and you can screw it back in. Do not over tighten the drain plug. You don't want to crack the case. So make sure you screw it in by hand. And once you're sure it's straight, nice and straight, and it's not crooked, screw it in as far as you can, just like that. And then we're going to snug it down. We're not going to go real tight, remember? We're just going to snug it in there so it doesn't vibrate out, like this. Okay, and that's it. Next we're going to wipe off the oil underneath the bottom right there. Then we're going to slide our container over, because no matter how careful you are when you try to pour oil in there, you're going to wind up spilling some of the oil. Now, I don't know if I told you, but this one here holds 28 ounces according to the owner's manual. So what we are, 28 ounces is slightly less than a quart. As you know, a quart has got 32 ounces. So we're going to do probably almost the entire quart. And we're going to pour it in nice and slow so we don't have too much of a mess. But we're ready for just in case. So nice and slow. Now, I probably told you this before, but I'm going to tell you again. We are using a 1030 motor oil. You can use a straight 30 depending on the temperature. If it's above 80 degrees for an extended period of time, you can use a oil that's like a straight 30 versus a multi-weight. This 1030 is it's good for like a 0 degrees outside up until like 80 or 90 degrees in the summer. So this is a good multi-purpose oil, and where I'm located, that's pretty much what I need. All right, so we're just about full now. I can feel that the quart is almost all gone. So we're going to pour it in nice and slow. And it will leak out just a little bit. That's how you can tell that the oil is full. It'll be right up to the top of the threads here. And let's let that go down a little bit. And then we're going to take a look in there and we're going to see what it looks like. Let's get a light and take a look in there. It's just about full, but we're going to put a tiny bit more in there, just to bring it up just a little bit more. Okay, now it looks pretty good. It's just about up to the very top of the threads right here. Next we take our plug and we screw it back in as tight as we can, just by hand. It doesn't have to be real tight, just has to be snug. And that's it. Okay, now nice and tight. We're going to wipe off any residual oil that may have dripped down. And that's it. This we're going to dispose of. As I said, we're going to go to a big box store to get rid of it. And that's it. Our oil level, just so you know, is right up to the very top of the plug right here where you install the oil. Now, obviously, there's going to be a little picture right here on it that shows an oil can, so you make sure you put your oil in the right place. That's it. This is all set now. The oil is in, and we're in good shape. Okay, so that's it. Our oil change is now finished. Just so you know, we're going to take this, we're going to bring it outside, we're going to let it run for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to check the oil level again to make sure that it's full where it's supposed to be. Okay, now we just moved the unit outside, away from everything. We started it up. We're going to let it run for a couple of minutes until it thoroughly warms up. Once it thoroughly warms up, then we're going to bring it back inside. We're going to recheck the oil level to make sure it's up to the full mark, and then we're good to go. And whenever the season gets started, we'll be all ready to go. But that's it. This job is done. I will say, just check your owner's manual before you put whatever oil you have inside there. I happen to use this one because it's a good range of temperature for myself here. All right, that's it. This job is done. We're going to put the oil into a larger container and throw it away in their big box store, and we'll be in good shape. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.